What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another London live stream. It is, what day is it today? 22nd of June, Thursday. So we have coming to the end of the month. We got this week and then a bit of next week until the end of June. Should be a good day today. We already took a trade today. We had a break even on Goldie, which is a bit of a shame, but we had to go break even because we had a breakout below these levels. Where was it? Below here. On the 15-minute time frame, we had a breakout, and then price broke out. We entered impulse entries right here, stops above the hourly high, and then as price closed bullish here, we continued down, but unfortunately the 15-minute pushed down and hit my break-even level before creating a top wick. So then it came back and created a top wick, and then we got stopped out of break-even. But like I said on my Twitter, if you guys saw it, it's not going to be the last time it happens. It's going to happen again. So there's no point being upset about it. It's just going to happen again. So in terms of what we're looking at now, we can see gold's pushing down. So hopefully we create a bit of a retest. If we look at the daily, we can see yesterday we closed bearish. Okay, so today I expect we could potentially fill this wick. Okay, down to the bottom, 130 pips. Okay, so we got a lot of range down to the bottom, which is good. And in order to take buys, again, we need a range 2 breakout. But if we look at where we can look for buys, maybe above here, we can start looking at buys. We have a 24 pip range, and by the time we reach there, we'll have range 1 here, range 2 here, and then a breakout here. So that'll be our range 2 breakout. So we can have buys above here potentially. Okay, and then sells could be sells below here. Okay, and the reason for sells below here is because obviously the daily was bearish. Okay, 15-minute, if we look here, we can see 30 pips a clean range below here. Okay, although it's clean to the left here, we do have a little bit of traffic. So I just thought, let's just play it easy and wait for sells below here. Okay, because even if you're trying to take sells below here, you got 10 pips, then you're running into this, and then may as well just wait for sells below there. Okay, but in terms of how these sells would look, they would look quite nice because 4 hours coming down, especially if we create a top wick now, then we can flip and then come down to below these levels. So that'll be nice. But let's see what happens. Do we have news today? Swiss franc, US dollar at 6. Wow, so we have a lot of news. So this could potentially affect US dollar, or maybe even gold, but it shouldn't really mess with GJ. But to play it safe, we just need to be careful of this Swiss franc. We got GJ news later on in the day, so GJ could range for a bit. We need to be aware of that as well. But and then US dollar as well. So we've got a lot of news today. So it's important to really recognize that news affects the entire market. It doesn't just, like for instance, if this British pound news comes out, because all the FX pairs are linked, as in if one goes down, it affects all the other pairs. Because for instance, GBP, Japanese yen, has GBP USD, GBP Euro, GBP whatever, and then it's just a chain effect. So they all get affected by news. So it's important just to be careful with any type of news. We'll see that. GJ, let's have a look at GJ. So gold's pretty simple. We just need to wait for these levels to be broken. Unfortunate with that break even. Very simple trade though. Breakout, continuation. Simple as that. GJ, let's have a look. So GJ on the daily, we closed bullish yesterday. Okay, so we created a little bit of support here. So I think there's a good chance we can come up, fill this range back up to these highs, especially because the weekly is very bullish. So we could just be creating a bottom wick here, but that's very long term. In terms of what we're looking at today, you can see the 4 hour ranging a bit. Maybe we're holding support here, but we are ranging a bit, so we just need to be careful with how we approach this. 1 hour, let's have a look. So you can see a little bit of a sort of intraday downtrend. We're coming down slowly. 30 minute, 15 minute. Okay, so if we look again, the daily was obviously bullish yesterday. Okay, so that means for us to take sells, we need a range 2 breakout. And we have range 1 and range 2 right here. Okay, so if we break out of here now, that's when we can start looking at sells. We have clean range to the left, 35 pips and 20 pips to any sort of resistance. Okay, so we got nice wick fills as well. That should be a nice sell level below there. And yeah, in terms of buys, I was looking before. Technically, we could take buys above here. And the reason is because the overall trend is bullish. If we look here, overall trend's bullish. 1 hour. Okay. So if we break above here, given that we have 1 hour bottom wicks and 4 hour bottom wicks, etc., then we have 17 pips of clean range. Okay. So yes, technically we can have buys above here, but we need to be careful because if a candle closes halfway into this range, that means we'd only have 10 pips to fill, and that's not really worth it. So we can have buys above here, given that we get a closure like right around these levels, so we still have enough range to the top. At least sort of, I want at least 15, 16 pips. And obviously we need, do we have bottom wicks on the hourly? So this hourly doesn't have a bottom wick either right now. So that means we have to wait for a bottom wick to form anyway before we can take this. But if this flips bearish, we'll have a top wick on the hourly. 4 hour, we'll have a top wick. And then, yeah, that'd be perfect. If we can break below now and closure below on the 15, then we can have sells. But yeah, even if we break above here now, the 1 hour hasn't created a bottom wick, okay? And the reason I wait for bottom wicks to form on the 1 hour especially is simply just from my data. I've seen that when the 1 hour doesn't have a bottom wick or a top wick, its price is very likely to, even if it pushes a bit, it's very likely to come back and retest these levels, okay? Because whether you want to think about it in terms of liquidity or whatever, a lot of people have their use candle lows and highs as their stops, okay? So if we don't have a bottom wick on this hourly, okay, everyone's stops are still here, okay? And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's liquidity, I don't know why it happens, I don't know what it happens, but I just know it happens quite often, and it's just one of my trading rules, so I'm gonna stick to it. But yeah, that's the plan. Pretty simple. Creating a nice retest on Goldie. I'd prefer to see gold come down, but one thing I noticed, we don't have a bottom wick on this 4 hour candle, okay? We've now had 2 no bottom wicks, so We're very bearish, but look what happened here. No bottom wick. Shoot down. So yeah, that's interesting. But technically you could push down very far and still flip. But I think there's a good chance we're going to fill this wick today, especially with the news coming in later. So yeah, simple day. It'll just be a bit of patience, a bit of waiting, and then we should be good to go. But yeah, I'll show you guys the gold trade I took just now. I was going to start the stream before I took it, but I thought it's still very early. Hold on here. Yeah, so this is the gold trade I took. 2-lot sell. We had the 30-minute closures below this level, or 15-minute impulse entries. And then what happened was this 15 pushed down straight away after closing without creating a top wick. And yeah, the chances of us, especially when we come down and then reject this level and then flip, there's a good chance you're going to get stopped out. So yeah, I thought it's still very early in the day. We've pushed down, we've hit our break-even level, which was a 5-minute support. And then, yeah, but that's just what happens. But yeah, happy with the trade, happy with the month so far. I'm really starting to see some good results come through. I'll show you guys how I've been going this month so far. So this is this month so far. We had 1 or 2 losses above here as well, which I only started this as I started doing the live streams. Started recording it on here for you guys to see. But yeah, how many pips have we got? So 110 pips, pretty decent. Depending on how much you're risking per lot or whatever, you can figure that out. But yeah, very happy with the month so far. Just felt very relaxed, I guess, taking it easy, just taking trades as they come, doing my homework, doing the back testing, doing the simulations, studying the losses, the wins, everything. But yeah, feeling good. Good morning, Uncle Sam. Thanks for the analysis. No worries. I enjoy doing this, so. No trades yesterday as well, during London and New York. I think for me, the markets were a bit rangy. Yeah, this was pretty much yesterday. Or was this yesterday as well? Oh yeah, this was during London, I think. Yeah, this was very early New York, but we didn't get any top wicks, so couldn't take the breakouts here. That's all good. Pretty weird news. Member Wallace speaks. And Swiss franc, GBP late at night. That'll be interesting. So yeah, big 2 days of news coming up soon. But we've had some good weeks in terms of news. Last week we had pretty much no news. We had the one US dollar. US dollar, actually, we had quite a bit. Maybe it was the week before that we had no news. Yeah, a week before that, no news. Let's look at next week. Next week, pretty chill next week as well. I prefer trading not news. I find it's a lot easier to trade when there's no news. So yeah, GJ, we need a bottom wick here. Even if this closes above, we can't take sells. But we are creating a nice top wick. So yeah, if this comes down now and closes below, we have range 1, range 2, breaks below, we can continue down for sure. Four hour, yeah, because we're creating a top wick for the 4 hour as well. Little bit of a fake out on the 4 hour as well. You've entered buys based on 15 minutes breaking its high on gold. Based on this. Pretty aggressive trade, but something like that. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But for me to take buys or sells, I base my levels on the 30-minute. Okay, so if I have a price pushing down and then on the 15-minute it creates something like this, it would look like this on the 15-minute. And technically you could take buys above here as price continues bullish, especially when the daily was also bullish. But on the 30-minute, it's going to look like this. That's what it's going to look like on the 30-minute. And the reason I wait for the 30-minute is because often all price is doing is coming back to form resistance in a bearish situation, which means that especially if the 30 hasn't created a level of structure, then it's just coming back, forms resistance, and then continues down. Especially like today, when the previous daily closed bearish, plus the 4 hour closed bearish, the 1 hour is bearish. So you can see here, this is that price comes down, very good chance we're going to form resistance and then continue down. So yeah, I'd be careful. I'd be very careful, but technically you could take the buys back to that level, to where it forms a resistance. But yeah, for me, that's a bit too risky. It's GJ. Ooh, GJ's coming down. GJ is coming down. Right, so if GJ can come down now, that'll be great. It is a bit of a big stop, 25-ish pips. But it'll be a 30-minute closure, which means that we can wait for the 30-minute top wick and then use that as our stops. But we could use the previous 30. Definitely safer, 25 pips, not bad. Let's have a look here at you can see this is my back testing. 31, 32 pips is probably my max stop loss, because then we're getting into about 2% of my account, which is a bit much. I think 30 is 2%. So yeah, 24, 25, 27. Yeah, so it's not out of the ordinary, but would prefer a smaller stop if we close below. But we still haven't created a bottom wick on the hourly, so if we break above, same thing, we've got to wait. Is the full back? No, that's just 1 month. I have about 3 months of data right now. So, but here, this is just October. So you got, this is the one I'm doing now. GJ had a bit of a bad week towards the end, but I think 2 or 3 of these, I made some silly mistakes. But gold, October is pretty crazy. I did this week today. These 3 trades I did today, the simulation, and we had a massive win. So yeah, gold October was pretty decent. But I mean, I did July, August, and a bit of September for the same ones, and the results were pretty similar. But this is my best month for gold so far. Average pips per pair per month is around 70. So that equates to about what? 2%, but it just depends on how much you risk per trade. Yeah, so you can see gold losing a bit of momentum here, but still very early days. I don't know what it's gonna do. For all I know, it could push up all the way. We've had a lot of no top wicks recently. No top wicks, no bottom wicks. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what this 4 hour does, because we are closed with no bottom wick. So potentially we could push here. Happened here, no bottom wick, boom, straight back up. But doesn't happen always. There you can see it again, push straight back up. There it happened again, push straight back up. Sort of happened there, no top wick, and came right back down. But yeah, it's just one of my rules. I don't really want to take trades when there's no bottom wick or top wick. If we reject again here on GJ, that'll be nice. Very nice range 1, range 2 as well. You can see the range 1 fake out as well. Whether you want to do it here, break out here, we push right back in, or here, break out, push right back in. That's the thing about using the daily to your advantage. It's a simple rule. If the daily is not in your favor, wait for a trend or a range 2 breakout to form. That's really all a range 2 breakout is. It just means there's a new trend that's starting to form. So there's extra confirmation because we have 2 breakouts that the daily could flip. Yeah, so if this closes below here in 30 minutes, 8 minutes, pardon me, I would like to wait for a top wick, but if it just shoots down, we can take sells on the break of this low, okay? Because we've already had a big top wick on the hourly. We've had an hourly top wick, and we'll just have to use this as our stop, okay? So it'd be quite big, 28 pips, but yeah, we'll see. But I'd like a top wick to form so we can use that as our stops. Also, if gold comes down now, created a 4-hour top wick, we can break these lows, that'll be good. But yeah, below this level, if you're just looking at price action here, that makes sense to take sells there if you close below there. But when you look to the left, you only have 10 pips before you run into this support. So may as well just wait for here, and you got 33 pips. So it looks like maybe GJ could hold support here and then continue bullish. Yeah, in terms of if we break above here and we get no bottom wick on the hourly, so if we look, hourly has no bottom wick here, so if we break above here, can't take this, so then we could wait for above here. We have clean range, but it's only 12 pips, which is too small. So then you could wait for above here and you get 17 pips, which is just about enough. Unless, like similar to this range down here, unless a candle closes halfway up, then you've only got 10 pips. So then you can just wait for breaks above here and you got 20-ish pips, or here. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to find the clean areas where price moves well and then make sure it's worth taking that trade. It's a high probability setup. But yeah, gold looks like maybe it's coming down. And we didn't push in Asia either, so hopefully we can start seeing some volume sometime soon. Maybe when this news kicks in, Swiss franc news, we'll have some volume. This music about to put you to bed? Yeah, well, it's the only copyright-free music I can find. On Fridays we do good music because I don't care about copyright then. Last Friday we did Kanye because it was Kanye's birthday. But we'll see who we do tomorrow. Maybe a bit of everything. 2 weeks ago was Kanye's birthday, I think. I'm grooving. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm kidding. It's pretty boring. Sort of like jazz. Let's see what else there is. Yeah, I think this is the best we're gonna get. So GJ respected these levels. But yeah, it's still fair game if we break below. Because then if we look at the hourly, it'll just be a flip and we can continue bearish. So I don't mind this pullback. But like I said again, we need a bottom wick if we want to take buys. It's a shame we got break even on gold. Would have smacked up. At least would have had TP1 here. So at least would have got about 16, 17 pips. Probably still be running right now. But hey, that's how it goes. This is what I posted on Twitter. Not going to be the last time it happens, so why be upset about it? And I think that's so true. You know, like, you know when you get stopped out by 1 pip and you're like, oh, why does this keep happening to me? The market's so unfair. This doesn't work. Like, why am I doing this? It's going to happen again, you know? You're going to get stopped out by 1 pip again, or you're going to miss TP by 1 pip again, or break even and then 1 pip again, and then price goes exactly where you wanted it to go. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen over and over and over again. Same time, same thing with a loss. It's going to happen again. A win, it's going to happen again. So, you know, when you think about it like that, you realize, why is there even a point to be upset about anything that happens in the market? Because it's not going to be the last time you feel like this. So don't dwell on it. Don't celebrate your wins. Don't dwell on your losses, because it's going to happen again. So you may as well just move on, get ready for the next day, next trade. And that's really helped me, that sort of mindset, I think. Yeah, it helped me a lot to realize, like, look, I want to trade for a long time, and I need to learn to deal with stuff like this, because if I want to trade for a long time, this is going to happen over and over and over again. Like, there's no point dwelling on it. It's going to happen. And the thing is, like, I would say probably a year ago, if that happened to me, if I entered sells here and I had whatever, something like this, and then I saw price continue down, I would have re-entered probably. And in this case, maybe it would have paid off. But a lot of times you enter a trade for a reason the first time, and if you re-enter, then, you know, this would be my break-even level originally, and then price reverses. Then I take a loss based on me being pissed off that I got break-even. Then I take a loss, and then later on during New York, maybe I take another trade that I shouldn't have. And it's a spiral effect. You let a one break-even turn into 3 unneeded losses. And that's happened to me many times before. I take an L by 1 pip or something, and then I think, oh, this is so unfair. This keeps happening to me. So I take another stupid trade because I'm pissed off, and then I lose that trade, and then it just multiplies, and I do it again and again, and then I let a small win turn into a big win. And then you can't grow your account like that. You can't make any momentum like that. So you need to just let it go. It's gonna happen again. So yeah, don't have a bottom wick, unfortunately, so we can't take this. But I have a feeling this is going to come down. If I was a gambling man, I would say this is going to come down. But I'm not a gambling man, so that's why I'm not going to take a trade. I guess I am a bit of a gambling man. All of us traders are gambling men at heart. We say we aren't, but I think at heart we're all a bit gamblers. I'm just talking shit. It's funny, these live streams, ever since I started doing them, have made me realize how much time you just spend sort of doing nothing when you're trading. Like 99% of the time, I'm just sitting here doing the most random stuff. Because, I mean, you can look at the charts, make your analysis, and you can check it every few minutes or whatever. But then, like, you can't work harder. Like, you just gotta wait. So, yeah. Pretty funny. Chess, Wordle. Yesterday, what did we play yesterday? The Scribble. That was a fun game. Maybe we'll play that again today. And then scrolling Twitter, Instagram. I don't know. What do you guys do when you're waiting for a trade? It's nice to live stream because I'm not just sitting here by myself, but well, I am sitting here by myself, but virtually I'm not. You backtest / sim while you're waiting for trades? Yeah, that's a good idea. I just find when I do that, I often get carried away and I like miss what's happening. Usually I try to do 1 week of simulations per day because for me personally, whenever I do more than like an hour and a half of simulation or backtesting, I just start getting, I don't know, either I get lazy and sort of I just want to finish and then I start taking bad trades, or I just can't be bothered and I lose focus. So yeah, one week of simulations a day for me. Usually get about a week done, and then that's in the mornings, and then at night or afternoon I trade. Try to analyze different charts while waiting for your setup. Yeah, that's a good idea. But I mean, I only trade 2 pairs, so it is interesting to look at other charts as well, I guess. This is what I was talking about, Uncle Sam. If you look at AJ on the 15-minute, so this is similar to that gold trade that you took. You have price coming down and you have a resistance form, then price breaks above. So technically you could take buys here. Let's pretend this to the left is clean candles. But if you look on the 30, what does it look like we're doing? It looks like we've come down, created a low, and now we're potentially creating resistance to continue down. So that's why I wait for the 30. I just find it has a bit more sort of not reality, how do you say it? It's a bit more accurate in my experience versus the 15. But yeah, that's just what I found. Clean moves though. Okay, so GJ is broken above. But yeah, we don't have a bottom wick on the hourly, so can't do anything about this. So we just wait. What is the 15-minute best used for? For me, the 15-minute is... I use it a lot on breakouts. So, like, let's say there's a level of support right here. And then the 15 comes down and breaks below this level. And let's say it's 4:15. Okay, so it's the first 15-minute of the hourly. And the hourly has created a top wick already. Hourly's created a top wick already. So this is the first 15-minute of the hourly, okay? At this stage, let's say the 4 hours created a top wick and the hourly's created a top wick. If the 15-minute closes below, okay, you can enter, or I enter, impulse entries, which means that as soon as this closes below, I'm in. Okay, it doesn't matter if we create a top wick or whatever, I'm in. Okay, because if a 15-minute closes below and you have a top wick and a top wick on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, it means that if price is going to go down, it'll very likely respect this low before continuing down. Okay, so even though the 15 could push up, if it's going to continue down, it should respect the hourly and the 4 hour low. Okay, so that way I can enter impulse entries, because the 30 could close down here. Okay, and then you'd miss out. So especially on gold, I found the 15-minute works very well. The other thing I use the 15-minute for is identifying my buy sell levels, or my clean range to trade off. So here you can see on the 15-minute we have clean range, 15-minute clean range. Okay, but if you look on the 30, these are just wicks. Okay, but if you get a closure below here, there's a very good chance you're going to fill this wick. Okay, because essentially wicks are just an indication that price pushed down here and then came back. Okay, so if price then comes back down here again, there's a good chance you're gonna come down and respect, or at least hit these lows. Okay, so yeah, that's essentially what a wick fill is. Because a wick is essentially like, if you think about this is just going to look like this on the lower time frames. Okay, so yeah, if you close your below here, there's a good chance you can fill that wick. Yeah, that's what I use the 15-minute for. If you look at back test I did for October, you can see on GJ, most trades were on the 30. There were a few 15. And if you look, most were taken at the first 15-minute open of the hourly. There were a few 45, 1, 2, 3 45s, but the rest were the first 15 minutes of the hourly. But if you look at gold, lots of 15s, okay? So that's just, I don't know, maybe that's how gold moves or whatever, but yeah, wow, GJ rejecting. But the reality is, like, you can use any time frame for anything. Like, I could scale it up and I could use the 30-minute to mark my clean zones, and you know, I could start using the 1 hour as a breakout. I sometimes do, but most of the time it's 30-minute or 15-minute. You could even scale it up more. You could say on the 1 hour, there's clean range. So if a 4 hour breaks out, I can start looking at sells or buys. Same thing. I just find for me the 15 works well. 15, 30, 4 hour daily. I'll be back in a second, guys. Oh wow, GJ. Okay, so if GJ closes below here, we'll have an hourly closing below, 30-minute. It'll be a 30-minute breakout, basically. We got support right here. So if we close below, yeah, let's have a look. Yeah. So technically, if this closes below, we could use the previous hourly high as our stop, or 30-minute high as our stop, 32 pips. Maybe we'll lower the lot size a bit. But we still need to wait for the next hourly to create a top wick. And if that top wick is big enough, we could use that as our stops. But nice rejection on GJ, nice price action. We just need to be careful of this Swiss franc news. It wouldn't massively affect GJ, but it will pump a lot of volume into the market. So preferably if we enter, we want to be at break even before this, because it will definitely give us some spike volume, and that we all know how that could end. I did say if I was a gambling man, this thing's going to come down. But you know what they say, don't try and predict the market, just react. Have a plan for if price comes to here, this is what I'm doing. Price comes here, this is what I'm doing. No point trying to predict what's going to happen. Just react to where price goes. Okay, so 6 minutes till the hourly close. Yeah, so like I said, whatever happens, if we break out, we need an hourly top wick. So it'll be a while, maybe not a while, but at least a few minutes before we start looking at sells if we break out. And if we don't create a top wick and we just go straight down, then so be it. And Goldie is just doing nothing, so what would also be a potential trade is this hourly closes in here, okay, and then the next hourly top wicks, and then creates the hourly top wick and then flips. So the 15 will look like this with an hourly top wick, and then we can impulse entry stops above the 15-minute high to take this down. But let's see what happens. Just a bit cautious of this news. Goldie. Hopefully Goldie can get some volume. Gold's been very New York session dominated the last couple of weeks. It hasn't moved much during London, which usually moves the most during COMEX, which is I think 11 EST. But I'm asleep during that time. Yeah, look at this. New York session. Late or pre-New York. New York, pre-New York. London. There's one London move. New York. COMEX. NYSE. Asia. There's an Asian move. That is just out of the blue. New York. Pre-New York. London. But yeah, mostly it's been New York. It's pretty cool. You can literally see the sessions based on the volume. Pretty interesting. GJ, 2 minutes. Are we going to close below? Goldie, big push down. So same thing with gold. If we close below here, we need the new hourly to create a top wick before we can take sells. Okay. Doesn't look like we're gonna close. Right, so yeah, no closures below. So now we just gotta wait for this 15 to see what happens. So we have created a 5 pip, 6 pip top wick on gold, which isn't bad, but yeah, let's see. Still a long way to go. I would like to see a bit bigger top wick, but if we get a closure below, it could work. Because we have a nice 4 hour top wick, but we still have 12 minutes, so a very long time to go. Right, so Goldie's still sort of chilling. This will be an interesting 15-minute closure for both pairs, because GJ could either be respecting and then we can have a closure above. I don't think it'll stay much longer in this range. And Goldie will either sort of respect these hourlies. We did get an hourly closure below. But yeah. Am I waiting for 15 on gold? Yeah. If we get a closure on 15, I would like to see a bit bigger top wick for this hourly. Maybe like up here, 10-ish pips, but I mean, this isn't bad. 6 pips. But yeah, it could be a play. And we'd have, yeah. But I would like to see a bigger top wick. Because the average top wick for an hourly candle is about 5 to 10 pips. So if it's like sitting at 6, it's not the worst. But the bigger the better, honestly. But yeah, if you have volume, London Open, you get a closure below, there's a good chance you're going to continue. And GJ ain't bad. We just need to be careful with this range because it's not a very big range, so yeah, we'll see. So GJ could go either way now. Created a top wick, created a bottom wick. I'm just, yeah, I'm not too sure about this range to the top. We have some stuff here and it's quite small. So I'll see how it closes, but I'd much rather wait for above here and here. And Goldie's pushing back. So if GJ closes below here, we can have sells off the rip. Unless the stop is too big. So if, let's say this closes down here, then we have a 30-ish pip stops. Could take it off the rip and just have a bigger stop. Or you could potentially wait for the next 15 to create a top wick and then flip. But it could just shoot right down. So I'll see. But nice structure now on the hourly. You can see the previous hourly broke below these levels and then came back, rejected, closed below. So interesting. Now gold's flipping as well. think both are a bit unsure where they're going. If both close, so let's say GJ closes above and gold closes below, I'll take gold because we have daily, we have 4 hour, everything lines up, plus we have a much bigger range. So I'm not sure I'll take GJ on the buys because, I don't know, gut feeling. Simple as that. Ooh, we do have news as well, don't we? Do need to be careful with that. Yeah, it'd be good if we can not close below this 15. And then we'll have a 30-minute closure. And then the news will be gone as well. Should be a lot better. But yeah, I don't think I'll take buys on GJ above here just because the range is too small. And you have some resistance to the left here. So yeah, I think I'll wait for buys above here potentially. Nope, too small. Above here. Yeah, above there. Because yeah, you got resistance right there, so you'd have to wait sort of for breaks above there, and then you only get 14 pips, plus you have a resistance right here, so you only get 10 pips, which 10 pips is a lot, but for a range to buy into, it's not really worth it, I don't think. So minute 40 till closures. So it would affect gold. But yeah, it doesn't look like we'll close below, which is good. So we don't have to worry about news. We do have US news later, but that's a speech, which speeches, they affect the market, but they mostly just increase volatility. They don't really do spikes. I've found speeches simply increase the volume of price action. So, you know, if you get a breakout, it just means the breakout's likely to push far, or a pullback's likely to go far, because generally tends to respect price action. I feel like news does that as well, which is really weird. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I find that when news comes out and there's a technical analysis you have, this was back when I traded during news, I would have swing positions open, and the news would generally, most of the time, not all the time, but the news would affect price in the same bias that price action suggested. Like if you have a break and retest, entry confirmation, the news would come out and usually it would stick to the technical analysis, which is really interesting. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. Maybe it's just me. But then of course you have things like CPI and stuff, which just definitely do not respect technical analysis. They just go crazy. I'll be back. So both GJ and gold are looking really good. Nice top wick on the hourly, coming down. 4 hours got a nice top wick. They both look really nice here. I think this news will, I think it may be pretty big on both of these. Wonder why this is so late for GBP. Goldie coming down. Yeah, right. So, we still got a while, but 6 minutes. Either we can push down and create a wick fill. So the 30-minute would look, come down, create a wick. The 30-minute would look like this. And then you can take sells on the flip to fill the wick, or you get just a good old 30-minute closure. Take sells probably on the break of the lows. Would like a top wick on the next 30, but if it breaks the lows without creating a top wick, it's not the end of the world, because we've already created an hourly top wick. So even if the next 30 comes down and then flips back to create a top wick, it should respect these hourly highs before continuing down. Big range on GJ as well. But hopefully this news doesn't just completely ruin these setups, but let's see. How many countries have I been to? Actually, quite a few. Been to South Africa because I lived there. I did an Africa trip when I was younger as well. So I went to Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Namibia. Where else? Let me see. Let me get a map of Africa. Went to quite a few countries. So let's see. So I've been to South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, and Tanzania. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Then Australia, obviously, New Zealand, Japan, Sri Lanka. I went to Sri Lanka on a cricket tour when I was in school. And then I went to Europe when I was like 3 years ago. Went to England, France, Germany, Netherlands. I think that's it. Switzerland as well. So yeah, quite a few. Pretty fortunate so far. But yeah, you can do a few. I want to go to America soon. Hopefully next year or the end of this year. I don't know. I want to go to America. I think it'd be cool to live in New York for a bit. Maybe live in London for a bit as well. But I mean, I can't complain. Sydney's so nice. Nothing wrong with Sydney. Alright, so we've got 2 minutes till closure. We just need to be careful with this news. So yeah, I won't enter for the first minute or so of the 30-minute candle. And if it just shoots down, I mean, so be it. I'd rather wait to see what the news does, and then we can look for an entry if we close below. What even is this? Short-term interest rate. Oh, so it's just interest rates. So yeah, probably be pretty big. Let's look at it on Swiss franc, why not? So watch this live. Holy moly, look at that. Swiss franc. So Goldie's pushed right back. This will be crazy. GJ, no closure below. Look at Swiss franc. Holy crap. That is a... That is some of the biggest news moves I've seen ever. Oh, it's only 37 pips, but I mean, it looks freaking huge. But yeah, GJ, we didn't close below, and we closed with no bottom wick. But it's only a 30, so it's not the end of the world. And Goldie, we are not doing much. But yeah, before we need closures below now, before anything else. But wow, look at that move, Swiss franc. What was the numbers? As expected. I guess it's increased, but that's pretty crazy to have that reaction from as expected. Okay. So yeah, I didn't get the closures below, which is a shame. If this 15 creates a good top wick, we could potentially take closures. I just don't like taking closures on the 45-minute candle on GJ. But potentially. Quite a big stop if gold closes below 40 pips. Ah, it's annoying it didn't close below. Some typewriter music. Maybe we change it up. Let's try this one. Bit better. Alright, so what's going on here? I'm a bit hesitant on taking sells now because this 30 closed, no bottom wick. But it is only a 30, so it's not. Plus we have the hourly coming to a close. I think with GJ now, I'm going to wait for an hourly close. Because this 30 doesn't have a bottom wick. And that's it. It's the only reason. And then gold, yeah, we just need to wait for a breakout here. Can't take buys on gold because we need a 2-range breakout. Because the previous daily was bearish, so we need range 2. I think maybe around 6 p.m. my time, we could have a trade. Either gold hourly closes below, or GJ makes a decision. But I don't think, I won't take this 15-minute closure. And Goldie seems to have lost some volume. Yeah, technically we've just ranged the entire London. We had the gold push earlier. But other than that, here goes gold. The only thing with this closure, it's 40 pip range. So we may just have to wait for the hourly as well. Or you could take it and lower the lot size. But I ain't taking a 40 pip loss, that's for sure. So prefer the hourly to close, and then we can hopefully have a better stop. Been a cool session so far though. There's been interesting price action happening. Interesting to analyze. Because there's been so many situations that could have happened. So it's been interesting to analyze it. If I was streaming alone, do I set alerts or stay at the charts? It depends. I mean, sometime during London, I tend to just sit for 3 hours ish and look at everything. You know, I'll go downstairs, get food, or, you know, chill out for a bit if I don't really see anything happening. But during London, I tend to sit for 3 hours straight and like try focus. New York, I take it a bit easy. Like I set alerts, or I just check every now and then to see if something's setting up. If the market is very sort of, there looks like there's a lot of opportunities, I'll generally sit through both. But I mean, it's very chill. I'm not like Like I go out or go do something or whatever. But yeah, most of the time I try to sit down and look at the charts. Because I feel like when you sit down for an entire session, you sort of build a story. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but you build a story of what price is doing. And when something happens, then everything just sort of makes sense. And then very focused, I guess, when you sit for 3 hours. But you don't have to do that by no means. I just generally enjoy sitting here and watching what price does, if I'm honest. But when I was swing trading, when I was trading the 1 hour and the 4 hour, yeah, I would set alerts. Because then I traded pretty much any time. I didn't really care about sessions. So, yeah. I just had an alert somewhere. I check charts every now and then. And take trades accordingly. Alright, this is good. GJ not closing below, which is good. I didn't want it to. Because then I did not want it to. It's easier now. And gold is just chilling. Do you guys ever get that feeling? This may sound crazy, but you don't want price to do something because you're not 100% sure what you'll do if that happens. I don't know if you guys understand that, but I get that sometimes where I'm like, I hope price doesn't close below here because then I'll have to make a decision which I'm not 100% sure about and I could potentially miss out. And usually when that's the case, just stay out of the trade because you don't know what's going on. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not knowing what's happening, but don't take a trade because you think, oh, maybe this is right. Like, make sure you know what's going on because you've tested it. But yeah, 90% of the time, I feel like I know what's going on. Alright, so GJ could even close above here. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of this range. Oh, that was a closure. Didn't even realize. So we had 15-minute closures, GJ still ranging, and gold still ranging. So now we just wait. But typically, when London and Asia range, it means New York is going to be a aggro session, especially because you have news. Lots of news as well. So that'll be interesting. You get that too. You've seen things happen a lot. Then if another thing happens, it throws a spanner in the works and gets confusing. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the market is extremely complex, but I think it's important you know exactly what your plan is. And if you're unsure about something, it probably means it's not your plan. So, like with this one, I saw the 30-minute closed no bottom wick. So I was like, if this next 15 closes below, could take it, but I've seen the 30 close no bottom wick, it usually reverses. So probably, I don't know, just don't take it. Like, your gut feeling is sometimes very sort of all-knowing. It knows, because you got to think about it, your subconscious has seen price move day in, day out for years, or mine has at least. Every day it's seen price move. And when I see something and my gut's telling me this is not it, sometimes it's important to listen, because your mind picks up on things that you've seen in the market happen over and over again, and usually it's quite accurate. But in the same sense, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you might think, oh, this doesn't feel right, but if it follows the plan, there's no reason not to take it. So it's hard to find the balance, but it's important. It's important not to just ignore your gut, but it's important to not let your gut feeling overrule your trading plan. Because sometimes your emotions can get involved in your gut feeling or your subconscious, and that's when bad things happen. If the 1 hour closes back on gold above 1928, would you call that a fake out? 1 hour. Yeah, you could. The only thing is, for me to take a fake out, I need it to be in line with the daily time frame. So here the daily's bearish. So if we just look at the chart, what's the chances today's going to close bearish? It's quite high. Okay, just based on how price moves. If previous daily was bearish, likely that today's daily is going to be bearish. So the only time I take fake outs is when you have a fake out, like a normal fake out, and it aligns with the daily time frame. So for instance, if on gold we had a bearish fake out, like let's say we had a level here on the 30 and price sort of ranged and then faked out, that's when I take a sell, because everything would then line up. There's a very good chance you're going to continue down. Because when you think about it, you've come down, you've created a low, you're coming back. This could just be a liquidity grab, straight back in. So when you're with the trend, lows are likely to be lows and highs are likely to be liquidity grabs or retests. You know what I mean? Like, the trend's bearish, so a new low is likely to be a new low, and a high, like for instance here, is likely to be a retest or a liquidity grab. And it's not the opposite. It's not when you're trending down that lows are likely to be fake outs or liquidity grabs. It's likely that lows are likely to be lower lows. That's the power of the trend, you know? EJ? Hold on, let me just see what's happening here. Wow, look at GJ. Um, oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Um, that ain't bad. I mean, I'm not going to take it just because I don't trade EJ. And once I start, it's a slippery slope. I'll start trading all sorts of pairs. So I'm not going to take this. But also got to remember the hourly is closing in 8 minutes. And it's likely that the hourly candle is going to create a top wick. Okay, so even if this pushes, it's likely to come down and create a top wick for the hourly. What I would do if I was going to take this, I would wait for this 15 to close, or the hourly to close, and then go from there. Either you get a closure like this, and that'd be perfect because the 15 broke out and then respected these levels. We call this head tail continuation. And if the next hourly creates a bottom wick, you take it on the flip or the break of the high. That's the other thing. If you take this, first the hourly has to create a top wick, so it's going to retrace. And the next hourly open has to create a bottom wick before continuing. Those are just the probabilities. It's likely to create a top wick, and the next hourly is likely to create a bottom wick. But it ain't bad. Daily's bullish. Nice rejection. It ain't bad. But yeah, I'd wait for the hourly for sure. But good spot. It's definitely a good setup. Not me, just burped. Yeah, so with GJ now, you got closures above. The other thing with EJ that I just thought about is you don't know what's to the left here. Or I don't, at least, because I don't have the candles. So you're at all-time highs. It is tempting me though, that's for sure. But yeah, you don't know what's to the left here because this is in what, 2017? You look on the daily. Last time we were here was 2008. Wow. So I mean, this could be clean on the lower time frames. This could be full of resistances. I don't know. But usually when price hasn't been in an area for a long time, it tends to do well. But you just got to think about that as well. Looks like it's rejecting anyway. But yeah, if this 15 closes above, and then the next hourly comes down, creates a bottom wick, and then flips, it's a pretty nice setup. But we're rejecting again. Just going nowhere. I have a feeling it's not going to move until news. Because we got GBP news and US dollar news. So All the big players are waiting, I think. Could take the wick fill. It ain't bad. Oh, filled it anyway. So it doesn't even matter. Could have potentially taken the fill on the flip, but you filled the wick right in the first 5 seconds anyway, so it does matter. Goldie is doing nothing. How did EJ close? Yeah, so he still closed below. If you look at the 30, you'll be below. So yeah, I would wait for first an hourly bottom wick and then a closure above 155.94. If you get an hourly bottom wick. Because if you look at the 4 hour, you still haven't closed above here. I don't know. Still up in the air, I think. Daily flip on GJ. Yeah, you are. Continuation, but like I said earlier, we don't have clean range or range that's big enough to take. This is only 12 pips. This just got filled straight away. And then this is only 17, 16 pips. So you need to be careful with that. Above here, again, you only have 17 pips. Really, the best area to take buys is above here. Because you got 30 pips. But Above 15 ain't bad. But yeah, if this next 15 doesn't really do anything, we may call it a day and wait for news later. But it was a good session so far. There was a lot of, like I mentioned, a lot of scenarios that could have happened. A lot of sort of studying price. You know what we need to do? Miss that GJ move, yeah. Like, it's not a bad trade. You could have taken, so you had closures above here. You had clean range. But for me, you had quite a lot of resistance to the left. You had this here and this here. So even though you closed above, you still had a bit to the left. But in saying that, there's a good chance you're going to fill the wick. But yeah, if it doesn't come down and create a bottom wick, there's nothing you can do. That happens, you know, it happens every now and then. Just gotta let it be. It's not like the market's gonna go anywhere. You can take the same trade tomorrow and the day after and the day after. One missed trade, you're not gonna remember it. You know, when you think about yourself in 5 years and you're a millionaire at the top of I don't know, sitting in some Dubai apartment, you're not going to be thinking about that GJ trade you missed. So don't dwell on it. You learnt a lot? That's good to hear. I learnt a lot as well. It's not like I don't get anything out of these streams. Like, explaining my thoughts out loud really helps me, I think. But yeah, I think if you can come to these streams for a month, 2 months, you'll learn a lot. And you'll probably make money. Not probably, I think you will. But not if you just come for a week, because we could have a bad week. But I don't think we'll have a bad month. Certainly won't have 2 bad months. Yeah, so GJ again, just pushing no bottom wick. And there are days like this, you know. I've tested it, and there are a few days where you just don't get bottom wicks because there's so much volume in the market and you feel like you're missing out, but you know, it's just the market moving. Doesn't mean you missed out. The market moves all the time. Doesn't mean you missed out. So yeah, let's do the Wordle, because it doesn't look like we're gonna get anything. Ooh, good start. T-A... Taste? Is that a word? So the A's got to go second or... I don't think that's a word, no. Feel an H. T-H... I can't even think of a word right now that... Ooh. Tell me that doesn't look good. Oh, the A. Forgot about the A. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so A's second. Anything happening? Nope. This is confusing the shit out of me. Come on, people. Help me out here. Ta. Not a word. You. Ooh. I didn't even know that was a word. T-A-S. What? Q-E? U-E? Could it be a double A? I don't think that's a word though. P-E? No. I can't even think of a word that... Just gonna try every letter. It may be a double A. Oh my goodness, I'm an idiot. Yeah, so GJ's pushing now, but like I said, I don't have a bottom wick on the hourly, so I can't do anything. Plus, I'm not even a big fan of this range. It's pretty small. And chances are, if you haven't created a bottom wick, it's a very good chance you're going to come down and retest these levels later on. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it there, guys. There's the only thing that could happen still for London is the next 15 closes below. If that happens, I'm sorry, but yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. In terms of where you can look for buys for gold later, like I said, you need a range 2 breakout because the daily closed bearish yesterday. So what we've done now is at least created a range 1, and then you have a range 2 here. So if you fake out of this, there's a good chance you can continue down. If you continue, then break out of here, there's a good chance you're going to continue up. Okay, because then you have that trend starting to form. So even though the previous daily was bearish, you should be sweet for buys. And then 30-minute closure below could be good for sells. If that happens, join the Discord and I'll let you guys know, but I don't think that'll happen. And then GJ, yeah, you need a bottom wick here. More levels you could look for buys. Look for buys above here and above here. Okay, but yeah, you just need to be careful with these levels because it's not a very big range. So yeah, that should be good. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Have a good New York session.